police, meron ring quota. Kaya kaliwat kanan ang fina-file ng mga kaso, and sad to say 90% are being dismissed. So I am with the Ombudsman when he said they should be judged not by the number of convictions, but by the number of resolutions. Sa linya po bang ito, does the Ombudsman family agree that with regards to the policemen, dapat hindi sila nabibigyan ng quota? Kasi nakakadagdag po ito, lalo na't pagka walang mga basihan, nakakadagdag siya sa volume or load ng mga kaso na fina-file. May we get the input of the Ombudsman?
Marami po. Mr. Chair, Your Honor. Yung mga kaso po ng pulis na wala namang, ang tingin namin is only administrative, oftentimes we refer it now to the NAPOLCOM for them to resolve. Kasi minsan may mga kaso for support. Siguro itong mga domestic problems na ito, dapat i-resolve na lang ng NAPOLCOM. Magaling sila mag-resolve niyan. Mayroong kaso ng estafa kasi yung pulis umutang, hindi nakabayad, pa-file ng kaso sa ombudsman. Mayroong isang pulis sa Mindanao na nagnegosyo ng bigas, umutang sa nag-angkat ng bigas, nag-issue ng cheque, tumalbog yung cheque, kinasuhan sa amin ng estafa. This is not in relation to the office. So again, we refer this to the NAPOLCOM for them to be able to invite the attention of the police officer to settle this matter. Tinitingnan po namin. Right now, hanggat hindi pa ho naayos namin yung aming public assistance o napapalakas yung aming public assistance office, we just refer these matters now to the concerned agencies. But in the future, we will be handling those cases ourselves.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po, Ombudsman. Kanina po nasabi nyo na kayo ay waray-waray, pero Ilocano. Kaya nga, hinihintay yung mga savings para doon sa IT project at sa MIS. Mr. Chair, ako naman po ay waray-waray, lumaking talagang true-blooded waray-waray. Kaya po para mabawasan yung aking tapang, ako po ay nag-asawa ng isang Ilonggo para madagdagan yung aking kalambingan. No? But, Mr. Chair, Honorable Ombudsman, I do admire you for being an Ilocano and for using savings. However, the IT system of the Ombudsman is quite urgent. So if we are referring to savings, how long will the actual project be fully operational? And if we talk about the budget, how much is needed? Because there are actually other expenditures of government now that should be aligned to IT projects for better and faster services and for more transparency.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, I don't want to burden the government anymore for the expenses for our IT project. What I am doing right now is, or what I did, was to get in touch with the former ambassador of Estonia to the Philippines, who has now been reassigned to other countries. And as of 2 days ago, I received a word from the government of Estonia that they will be discussing with us the possibility of the government of Estonia providing to us the software. I said we can buy the hardware, provide us the software, teach us how to come up with our own firewall, and they're willing to do that. So before the end of the year, one of the representatives from the government of Estonia may be coming over to discuss with us these matters. So iniiwasan lang po namin na gumastos ng malaki ang gobyerno. Kung pwede naman makahingi tayo ng tulong sa ibang bansa, hihingi po kami ng tulong sa ibang bansa. If we have to get the support from the UNDP or the UNODC, we will get support from the UNODC para hindi ho kami mahirapan na sa pagbili ng mga equipment na ito dahil yung proseso po ng bidding ay napakahirap. O yung mga processes sa ating government procurement contract ay napakahirap pong sundan. So, bayaan po namin silang bumili para sa amin itong mga hardware na ito. Marami pong salamat.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ombudsman. I do admire the candidness of the Ombudsman earlier, Mr. Chair, when he said, corruption is already a fad and a fashion, and it has become endemic. Nakakahiya mang aminin ito, pero tila talagang may laman ang sinasabi ni Ombudsman. And I don't think it is endemic. It's probably translating into hyper-endemic. Ibig sabihin po, may mga panahon na nagkakaroon na siya ng epidemya on top of it being endemic. And actually, Mr. Chair, the Bishop knows me very fully. Nung ako po'y bata pa, I had my first communion with Pope John Paul II. So ako po yung maliit na bata doon na tumutugtog sa Cebu during the first Mass of Pope John Paul II. And I grew up in the province na palaging nasa simbahan kasi kung nga taga-tugtog no, nung mga kasal, binyag, lahat. I noticed that the young generation going to the church has actually been dwindling. Not to mention the fact na dati, di ba, may Flores de Mayo ang saya-saya kasi nakukultivate yung ating mga kabataan. But now, napakahirap mag-generate. Moreover, I also noticed, yung nasabi nga ni Ombudsman na may naka-shorts, may mga naka-sleeveless. Ngayon naman, during Mass, alam ni Bishop ito, parang kaliwat kanan, may cellphone yung lahat. No? Mabuti na nga lang medyo pinapasilent. No? So in other words, morality is really starting to go down the drain. And this has a huge impact. Ayaw ko lang naman sabihin kasi mag-e-election. I'm not really sure if the Sangguniang Kabataan is helpful in molding the morals of our youth. So my question here is, dun sa sinasabing advocacy for prevention of corruption, paano po kaya ang nakikitang measure ng ating ombudsman so that this will be addressed? Because aside from the loss of morals, napunta rin po, Mr. Chair, Your Honors, yung pong envy, girian, harassment, pareho po, gibaan, like kami, we're doctors, and in our profession, napakamasalimuot po ng practice. Minsan, na oftentimes, you are actually curtailed not to advertise, kasi yan po yung aming Hippocratic Oath. However, marami po yung kaliwat kanan na nag-advertise with no accountability with what they're doing. So, what's the comment of the Ombudsman with regards to this? Dagdag ko na lang po, last question, Mr. Chair, kasi kasama na yan doon. He mentioned earlier na yung mga kaso ay nasa mga politiko. May I appeal that that be adjusted? Kasi sa totoo po, marami ring mga kawani ng gobyerno, lalo na yung mga maliliit, yung mga miyembro ng Bids and Awards Committee, hahanapan niya ng mga kasalanan. Yung mga sana ay mapropromote kasi sila yung nagtatrabaho at kwalipikado, sisiraan ng mga kasamaan. At we all know, I mean, I've been in government for 25 years. At I'm very proud to say that I was not involved in any of PDAF cases or corruption cases related to my tenure as board member and congressman. However, makikita po natin na kapag merong negosyante na natatalo sa bidding, inuulan ng kaso yung ating career officials. Dagdag pa dyan, pagka merong pong ipropromote at merong bakanteng posisyon, yung pong mga hindi naman masisipag sa loob ng opisina ay ginagamit nila yung mga kaso to get back or to hit back at their competitors who are actually qualified for the position. So how can this be prevented? Because what will be happening is that pag nagkakaroon ng gibaan, yung mga talagang nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno ay nangihina ang loob. And then yun nga, yun nasabi nga kanina ni Ombudsman na minsan, nagkakaroon tuloy ng takot or pangamba yung iba, and the non-workers or the non-performers are actually exploiting this avenue. May we hear the comment of the Ombudsman on that, including the fact na pagka hindi sumunod yung ibang mga back members ay inuulan ng kaso at wala namang panggastos para sa abogado.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, let me answer first on the matter of procurement. I think it is about time that Congress should take a serious look into repealing the present procurement law, which we copied from the government of Canada. Let us go back to our old procurement law where it was so simple. Wala masyadong requirement. I think Congress should take a serious look into abolishing also PS-DBM, which has in the past years became the source of graft and corruption, as what happened in the Farmally case. Why go back to the old system of procurement? In the old system of procurement, we only have a performance bond. Ngayon, ang daming bond na nire-require. If you buy a car now, whose cost is about 1 million pesos, you purchase it at 1.2, 1.3 million pesos. Dahil sa daming requirements na ini-impose under the new procurement law. Not only that, instead of procuring a car within Metro Manila, if you're in Metro Manila, you look of the lowest bidder, and you sometimes find the lowest bidder in Nueva Ecija or in the Bicol region. So paano yung maintenance ng sasakyan? You go to Bicol, you go to Daet just to have your car maintained? Ito yung mga kalukuhan eh. Because what we did, when the procurement law was passed in Congress, somebody copied from the government of Canada the procurement law. You can study the procurement law of Canada. It's similar to us. We have that post-qualification. Canada's the post-qualification. The one who drafted that law for Congress must admit that he copied the procurement law, the present procurement law, from the government of Canada because it was the government of Canada who spent for the study of the procurement system in the Philippines. So kung sino sponsoring country, yun ang ating sinusunod. So why don't we just come up with our own, the old procurement law, pre-qualification, and the bidding proper, and after that, the award. Why abolish PSDBM? Why do you have to buy a big ball pen when I can, at the cost of 150 when I can buy it in the store for only 1 peso? Why do you have to pay PSDBM? A certain percentage para ibili ako ng big ball pen. Why not put that responsibility on the government procuring entity? Why PSDBM? So lahat ngayon nagpapalusot, pupunta sa PSDBM. We can do that. We don't need PSDBM anymore. Ferdinand Marcos Sr. created PSDBM dahil nung araw naghihirap po ang supplies ng mga office supplies like coupon band. So this is the reason why it was created. Ang nangyari over time, inabuso ito eh. So let us try to study, take a serious look in the abolition of PSDBM. Now, the first question about Bauli yan.
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Chair, I was also referring to corruption being a fad and a fashion. Yung nawala na nga yung mga values, no?
On the corruption being a fad and a fashion, we cannot solve corruption, as I've said earlier, through the passage of laws. All I beg Congress to pass is a law making it mandatory, good manners and right conduct, but a God-centered good manners and right conduct subject. Take out that God-centered good manners and right conduct aspect, you will be a failure. I'll give you an example. Teacher ako sa isang barangay. Tuturo ako ng good manners and right conduct. Pero pagdadating ng hapon, mga alas 5, alas 6, nandun ako sa kalsada lasing, naghahamon ng away. Will my pupils, my students, believe me on what I am teaching about good manners and right conduct? No. But let good manners and right conduct be God-centered. Let our young, the youth, ipaano natin uli, yung pagmamahal sa Diyos, love of God, fear of God, which is absent nowadays. Hindi ko naman sinasabing religyoso akong tao. No, I am not. I am 10 times a sinner than a criminal in serving sentence in Muntinlupa. I am probably the #1 adulterer in this room. But what I am saying is, itemper naman natin to yung takot sa Diyos. Na bago natin gawin yun, matakot tayo sa Diyos. Diba? Why do we have this riding in tandem? It's all because about money. It's not just about corruption, but it's because we don't fear God anymore. We don't fear that there is hell. We don't even believe that there is hell. We don't respect ourselves. We don't respect the Lord. Whatever you conceive your God to be, you follow your God. Whether you call him Allah, Jehovah, or Lord, just follow the dictates. Because no religion teaches immoral things. No religion tells us that mabuti ang pumatay. Walang reliyon nagsasabing mabuti ang magnakaw. Wala eh. So let us have a good manners and right conduct subject that is God-centered. That's all I ask from Congress to do. A 1 hour a week to be taught by the ministers of the various religious organizations. The Iglesia ni Cristo has promised me that they will send their ministers to these various public schools to teach good manners and right conduct with God as the center of that. Okay sana yun. And I hope other religions will follow with volunteer. Kahit lang sa Katoliko, yung sinasabi ng catechism, let's start with that. Let us start teaching the young to pray the rosary sa Catholics. Let us start teaching the young to read the Bible, as what the sponsor of this hearing this morning is. Wala, but I think we start it now, and for the next 20 or 30 years, we may not be in this earth anymore, but the fruits will come out after about 20, 30 years, and expect that to happen. But we have to start it now, Your Honor. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Mr.
Your Honor.
Chairman, just a quick rejoinder. Will the Ombudsman agree with me in proposing that this should be one of the core functions of the Sangguniang Kabataan? Because 10% of the barangay funds, municipal funds, and even provincial funds goes to their activities. Pero nauubos po kasi minsan may bikini open, minsan kung yung mga disco derby, concert, tuloy, yung iba nahihinto pa sa pag-aaral, yung iba naman nagbubuntisan na lang. So ang maganda siguro, Mr. Chair, is that we all move because while this is the mandate of the Office of the Ombudsman, it will be very difficult for them to be bombarded with a lot of corruption cases because corruption is starting to become the norm rather than the exception. Not to mention the fact na hindi lang po ang corruption ang ando dun eh. Ando dun na yung inggitan, what the Honorable Ombudsman mentioned earlier, there is already harassment. Kapag dun sa opisina, mapropromote yung mga qualified na mga eksperto. Even the scientists are now very much challenged. Even us doctors, we are also very much challenged kasi kunyari merong isang magreklamo, may pasyenteng nasusulan sa baba, lahat isasama sa kaso up to the professors in the universities and even up to the medical center chief. In other words, the loss of morals and values has already transcended into the possibility of non-performance of functions and duties because fear is already there. Fear that was inculcated because there are just a lot of evil actions surrounding. May we get the wisdom of the Ombudsman from this kasi napakasayang ng ating sangguniang kabataan. Minsan nauubos sa seminar, mas mabibigyan ng puntirya yung kanilang direksyon if they will be molded into anti-corruption warriors.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, we have trained high school students and with respect to the fight against corruption. With respect to the kabataang barangay, I think there should be a law that would make it mandatory for them also to spend some of its budget or part of its budget in values formation. But a values formation, as I said, that is God-centered. As I said, wala ho yung God, wala ho mangyayari sa atin. We will not just, as you said, go down to the drain. We are not just going down to the drain. We are already in the septic vaults. We're just like cockroaches now scampering for safety. That when the time comes that we're about to have our last breath, that is the only time we say, Lord, papagtawaran nyo na lang po ako. Maraming pong salamat.
Thank you very much, Chair, and I laud the Ombudsman family for bringing that up, no? Kasi napakaiba na nung panahon ngayon, ikumpara sa nung kapanahonan natin. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congresswoman Garin, for a much overtime question. I would like to just commend the Deputy Majority Leader for her very vivid description of corruption in this country, no? Which is already hyper-pandemic, sabi nga niya, no? And I also would like to commend our ombudsman for repeating his call for a God-fearing values in the schools. I just would like to inform our good ombudsman that when I was young, I wanted to be a lawyer. But there's a greater calling that I accepted to be a pastor of a church. But you know, I have a doctorate degree in theology, and when you have a doctorate degree, you study Jewish law. Alam niyo, sa totoo lang, Mr. Ombudsman, Jewish law is very simple. Dito po sa ating bansa, napakaraming batas. And I remember a statement of one of very prominent lawyers in Europe that the more laws you have, the greater corruption that you're going to have. I do not know if you would accept that, Mr. Ombudsman. But you know, Jewish law is very simple. We have the moral law, which is the constitution of Jewish law. And we only have the civil code and the plenary and the penal code at the same time. And it's ceremonial law. I think nakakahiya man sabihin, Mr. Ombudsman, that the Philippines is the only Christian country in the Far East. But violence and crimes in this country seems that there is no effect on being the only Christian country. That's the reason why whenever I am allowed to teach and preach, I would rather speak on a personal relationship with God rather than religion. Because religion cannot even change a man, Mr. Ombudsman. So I'm so glad that you raised that issue.